mooy Leewtoo ko di programme bu bees war a daw fii ci GRTS ah waay jóg leen taxaw lii lu nar a neex la lii lu doy waar la lii nag ngeen bëggee xam li muy demee dee leen ñu topp rek waay ku bëgg a bokk ci programme bi wala nga bëgg a sponsor programme bi wala nga bëgg a dooleel programme bi xoolal ci 99 26577 99 6115 78 24 388 63 19 505 359 7844 rek nga bokk ci programme bi di nga loo wax
yaa daan maa daan moo daan coow li bëri na xarale yu bees dekkil cosaan te waa Ndongo
Welcome to the news on GRTS at 10. In the headlines tonight, the Vice President returns from an FAO convergence marking the global eradication of the animal disease rinderpest. Teachers in the Upper River region receive various honors for their outstanding contributions towards the education of Gambian children. Angry protesters unleash mayhem on the streets of the Senegalese capital Dakar, the second time in as many days. Scores of Syrian dissidents in Damascus call on President Assad to surrender power as state-sponsored violence rages across the country. And Libyan officials reject the recent arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court, accusing Colonel Gaddafi and his son for crimes against humanity. These stories and much more coming ahead in the news. I am Aisha Chidab. His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Ejiji Jammeh, accompanied by a high-ranking delegation, will leave Banjul International Airport on Wednesday, 29th June 2011 at 12 in the afternoon for Malabo, Equatorial Guinea to attend the 17th ordinary session of the African Union Heads of State and Government Summit. Those invited to see His Excellency the President off are requested to be at the airport at least half an hour before departure for the usual ceremonies. Member countries of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations recently gathered in Rome, Italy, to celebrate the global eradication of rinderpest. Francis Mendy accompanied the Gambian delegation headed by the Vice President, and he reports the animal disease is blamed for the decimation of cattle populations across the globe.
The Gambia, like many countries that were represented at the high-level event held to celebrate the global eradication of rinderpest, is heavily dependent on livestock for a variety of reasons. The subsector accounts for 8% of the country's gross domestic product and contributes between 10 to 15% to overall household income. The Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Her Excellency Ajah Dr. Aisun Jai Sedi, who represented the President and Minister of Agriculture, told the Rome gathering that the Gambia considers the global eradication of rinderpest a success story and a very dear victory for international cooperation. Madam Jai Sedi dilated on the unrelenting efforts that led to the Gambia being declared provisionally free from rinderpest as early as 1988 as a result of years of successful and painstaking annual countrywide mass vaccination campaigns embarked upon by the National Veterinary Services with the support of government and the cooperation of regional and multilateral organizations.
This led finally to the evolution of the national herds population from 50,000 heads then in the 1930s to over 300,000 as I'm talking to you now in 2011. Similarly, serosurveillance exercises conducted under the Pan-African Rinderpest Control and Pan-African Program for the Control of Epizootics, or PACE, revealed no evidence of circulating rinderpest in the Gambia.
Madam Jai Sedi, however, warned that the post-rinderpest era does not call for the lowering of our guard and urge the international community to ensure that rinderpest does not resurface.
The government of the Gambia is fully committed to meeting its obligations in this regard. We would like to use this opportunity, however, to call on the FAO and other relevant partners to continue working together on global strategies in close collaboration with all countries and relevant institutions such as research laboratories and veterinary schools to help ensure the full implementation of the global strategies. This is and should surely be the only way, and indeed the only sustainable way for that matter, to keep the rinderpest virus away forever.
Rinderpest has been defeated, but the Gambia is grappling with the emergence of transboundary animal diseases triggered by a myriad of factors. Madam Jai said that the current approaches to animal disease prevention and control based on the disruption of disease transmission have been effective in both the short and long term with regard to diseases like rinderpest, but she however noted that these approaches have been less successful in some instances, as shown by the current persistence of H5N1, the highly pathogenic avian influenza, despite significant national and international efforts.
This, in our view, is because most current approaches apply strong veterinary science and medical disciplines in isolation from other related disciplines, of course, such as economics, sociology, communication, and land management, among others. Therefore, veterinary services now need to adopt an integrated approach, if they have not already done so in some countries, to control diseases better. And this means, of course, focusing on identification of diverse as well as drivers of diseases, flare-ups, and adopting, of course, a multi-sectoral, multidisciplinary approach to addressing the increasing disease threats.
Earlier, the Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization, Dr. Jacques Diouf, opined that the eradication of rinderpest, which has been around for 10 millennia, provides proof that the world can effectively combat hunger, malnutrition, and other food-related problems before moving to unveil the plaque dedicated to the global eradication of rinderpest. The presidents of Chad and Togo, Idriss Déby Itno and Faure Gnassingbé, respectively, also addressed delegates. Francis Mendy, GRTS.
The Vice President and Women's Affairs Minister has been engaging officials of the Gambia's development partners in a bid to strengthen and deepen the existing cooperation between their organizations and the Gambia government. We hope to bring you details of that report in our tomorrow's news bulletin. The West Coast community of Sukuta has inaugurated its new Village Development Committee. The 10-man body, as we hear in this report by Louis Mendy, will henceforth take the lead in the execution of a 9-year socio-economic development plan.
Determination and service to their community, these young men and women assume leadership to work hand in glove with their people in the execution of a 10-year socio-economic development program. Speaking at a brief ceremony, the chairman of the former Village Development Committee gave a brief background and genesis of the formation process of the new VDC and a few words of advice to both the new committee and the youths of the village.
To the members of the VDC, my advice is that you must all remember that you represent the people of the various wards from which you come. They selected you, male and female, to work for the interests of the whole community of Sukuta. Your allegiance is to the village community as a whole, not to any individual or group of people. The interests of the community must come first before any other consideration.
The National Assembly member for the Kombo North, Adam Cham, commended the new Village Development Committee members for their courage and urged the villagers to unite for the common interest and prosperity of not only the people of Sukuta, but for the nation at large.
If we want to make headway in the realization of the plans put on the ground for this VDC to work on, it is our collective responsibility to give them our hearts, our minds, our heads, and our hands. It is only through that impact could be made. If not, development will lead us.
Similar remarks were made by the Deputy Governor of the West Coast region, Mrs. Fatsanya. Abulai Jallo of the Ministry of Local Government and Land enjoined the people of Sukuta to cooperate with the VDC in meeting their development aspirations. In his acceptance speech, the new VDC chairman, Momon K. Cham, pledged to serve his community with diligence as he outlined his immediate plans. One of them, he says, will be to empower the youth. This, according to Cham, is central to national development. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Teachers in Region 6 have for the second time converged on the Education Office in Basse to take part in the annual Teachers Award ceremony. The event, attended by a number of local dignitaries, including the regional governor, recognized the efforts of teachers in their bid to mold the children for a prosperous future. Mohamed Jamal Sisi attended the event in Basse, and this is his report.
Might be modest in many social and economic respects, but teachers are widely accepted as roots of social, economic, religious, and political reforms.